Welcome everybody to the CrossFire podcast. It is Friday night, and my God, that app sounds just like a bunch of crumpled up, I don't know what it is. It sounds terrible.
On a crumpled up peanut.
What is that? Isn't it? It sounds like I'm stepping on a bag of Lay's potato chips. Maybe it's just because I'm hungry. I don't know what it is, but guys, welcome to the show tonight. We have got a great show for you guys. Got a great panel here. We've got a bunch of hot topics, and we're going to kind of tie in some of the problems YouTube was having earlier in the week into the issues that may be what the new technology is down the road.
Oh, no.
Right? Listen, we got to talk about it, XBot. But that being said, let me start with the panel. I do want to say this much. Shout out to Crap Gamer. Crap's got an event tonight. I hope he's enjoying himself, having a good time. And we'll see him back next week.
He's getting his sciatic.
Yes, he is.
Sciatic massage.
He's getting a massage. No, he's not. That's awesome. That being said, Senor Bombastic, boom! Boom has just finished his last podcast. Boom! Thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. How the hell are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, obviously this was a week from hell. If you are if you are a content creator who takes this stuff very serious, and I certainly do.
That's right.
There's nothing like going to come to your computer an hour and almost 2 hours before to set everything up for you to be told that nothing's working. And of course, there's no one to help you outside of the community, because Google and YouTube, who take 30% from all creators, do not have customer service, which is unbelievable.
You know, we used to make jokes about this, Boom, about 10, 15 years ago, because everything's automated now. You press one for this and this and that. You never talk to anybody. You can never actually get somebody on the other line. When it comes to this, there's not even a 1-800 number.
Well, they don't have any time for customer service because they're too busy keeping it up and running, right, guys?
Yeah, working just fantastic. Yeah, that being said, XBot, let me introduce the XBot 448. XBot, how the hell are you doing tonight?
What's going on, everybody? What is going on, panel? Everybody in the chat, it is the beginning of the Gamers Weekend right here, right now with Crossfire. I think we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So short and sweet, what's going on? Let's get into it.
Yes. And with that being said, let me get in some of our special guests. I've got a guy that is literally always prepared to be on the panel. It's Pred. Pred, and that's a lot of P's in a sentence. Predator, how the hell are you doing tonight?
Good, man. I got the bat symbol. What, about 20 minutes before the show started?
I think it was a good 32 minutes, actually. Who's counting?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to stuff my face with a steak real quick, and I'm ready to go.
Appreciate it, Pred. Always good to have you here.
Eat a steak fast?
Yes.
That's a talent right there, man.
I mean, if you make it right, you can eat it right. That's what she said.
I was gonna say something really dirty. I'm good. We'll see. We'll save it for next.
He almost introduces himself. He almost introduces himself. We asked him before the show even started, what would you say you do here? Goldblum, how the hell are you doing tonight?
Good, man. You know what's
Wow.
funny is that you actually hit me up yesterday to do the podcast. So
I did. Well, you know what? You weren't feeling
Fred,
well last
You got to
week.
step up your
That's
game.
36
bro.
hours more
You
than I
gotta
get.
step up your game.
36 hours. He wasn't
maybe
feeling
it's
well. I
because
said,
he
maybe he's
thought
not
of
coming
me before.
around.
You know,
No, that's not it, Goldblum. That's
I'm
not it
not
at all. You know
coming
that. You're not
I'm
coming
not
around.
coming around.
Come on, Doug. No, I'm only kidding, right? Nobody gets the Happy Gilmore reference. Nonetheless,
I did.
I appreciate that, Goldblum. Then I've got my brother here from New York. I've got two here from New York. I got Noximus Knox. How the hell are you doing tonight?
Another wonderful evening here. Ready to get into these topics with this awesome panel. And let's get it, man.
I appreciate that, guys.
Is Chauncey coming tonight?
Listen, Chauncey is
I'm feeling really like I'm concerned for his well-being right now, man.
You know, he was acting up today, man.
Bots is so American-like. He's like Chauncey. Is he coming? Like you should say it in English accent, dude.
Today.
Come on now.
That's
Would you
Chauncey
be
from
making
the old
it
money. It's from the old money over
Chauncey's
there.
got a new video out. I know that much.
That's right. Go check it out.
That's what I'm talking about. There it is. Shameless plug early on and early and often. Listen, I got news for you guys. It's Friday night. I want everyone to know. Shuffle on in. Let the audience kind of get in here. Guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Tweet it out. Let people know we're here. That being said, let's get into our first subject here. And, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even put it into the topics because I just think it's something it's more weighing on everybody's minds right now. And I'm going to start with Senor Bombastic. Boom. The xCloud has gotten a lot of attention in the past even 24 hours with Phil's tweets coming out thanking the team and for all the progress that's going on. And you've seen every other executive kind of follow suit. As we creep ever so closer to E3, Where do you think this xCloud was originally going to be just an option? Is it that they're kind of pushing? Are they pushing xCloud now even harder because they know Google's going to come out with their Fire and Ice any day now? And I mean, 3,500 games. They're promising the world your digital collection. There's so much stuff that's coming in the way of streaming. Is it no longer going to be just a viable option? Is it going to be the way you choose the game?
No, not for me personally. I'm always going to be a hardware gamer. I have been since 1978, so I don't think I'm going to change now.
Right?
The thing is the thing is this. Yeah, I've been gaming since '78 when a controller had one button and one stick.
The good old days.
And yes, the good old days. No, I'm always going to want a piece of hardware. I think the option is that. Listen, the thing is this. We have to understand that a lot of the way that a lot of the older gamers feel, like even people like they're in their 30s that have been gaming, let's say they started with the PS3, the Dreamcast, the PS2, whatever, right? That's their hardware. That's where they started. We have to look at the generation that's been around since the last 10 years, right? Where they're coming out of the womb. And when they're one, they're using the mom and dad's iPhone or iPad better than the dad or the mom, right? And this is where streaming is going to. Who's going to appreciate the streaming 10 years from now? Because those 10-year-olds are going to be 20, and streaming is going to be the future. I mean, I'm not saying that I expect traditional hardware to go away. I actually don't.
Smile right now, brother. You
No,
know
no.
that.
Listen, I'm glad Xbox smiling. I got to be honest with you, though. Boom, right? Boom. Here's my question for you. What if I threw this little wrench out there? I don't have a problem at all with streaming games.
No, me either.
But the one thing I question is how they're advertising cloud streaming, right? Like whether it be the controller attached to the phone or your tablet. Let's be honest. Boom. And the reason you're a perfect example of this is you've been very vocal about a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yes. And there's a lot of games. That one's over the top. So there's a lot of people in the audience are probably going, Mooch, that's ridiculous. That's over the top. I just said that. The point of the matter is that there's other games out there that aren't so over the top as far as 200 plus hours. But boom, is it realistic to think that we're going to be playing games that are much more sophisticated than the super R type of games on our devices, our portable devices versus, I mean, I can't see you getting into Halo Infinite or Destiny or the Division 2.
Not sitting on a screen that's 12 inches. I mean, listen, we're all dudes here, right?
Right.
And we all appreciate and strive to have the best piece of technology in the house is usually your TV. That's probably, for most people, it's the most expensive piece of technology that they have for their house because you spend so much time watching it. For me, yes. I could not go from a 65-inch HDR TV to a 12-inch screen and sit in front of that 12-inch screen for 8 hours like I would for Rage 2 on the big TV. Right. Again, I think where they're looking, who is going to take advantage of this are the much younger generation. I mean, listen, look. If this was being forced, if this was if this was going to be the next Xbox and you had to suck it up and take it, then I think that the gaming space would revolt. People would be very upset with being forced. But I think that because we're getting multiple options in hardware, we know that confirmed from Microsoft, right. And now we're going to have the xCloud. The options are not a bad thing, and I think that each particular option is going to focus on a specific generational type. And the streaming is going to be for a younger generation. I think that's what made Xbox smile.
Well, boom. What's making me smile right now is you're definitely right. I was the first out of the gate.
Yes, you were
about the streaming option.
Mm-hmm.
With
you
the
actually
younger
said
generation.
That
with the younger generation. Now the thing is here. The older generation. Talking about not streaming game. First off. You can stream games to a bigger
you
screen
could, yes.
You want to, all right?
Yeah.
You stream it to your TV or whatnot. The thing is, when you start seeing them cater more to a generation with an option, all right? And I said this before, I'm going to say this again. I believe the big hitters in the industry want to go mainly streaming. Right now is going to be your crossroad for options, for choices. This is going to be the hardware that you want to get into when you want to have as many options as you want to play your game. But you would be a fool not to think that these guys are not looking at the numbers and waiting to see when it comes to digital streaming games, their streaming services, watching the numbers, waiting for them to climb to a point where they can go back to the CEOs and be like, look, the numbers are really demanding here. We got to go all in on this right now.
Xbox, and I don't think, and Knox, I'm going to actually give you the mic in a second. I want to reiterate my question because I don't think anyone's arguing with that. I think Boom had said it. The younger generation, we all either have kids of our own, nephews, nieces, whatever. You guys all know this, okay? My point being is that we know that the younger generation is flocking more towards the tablets. But if you actually stop and look at what they're playing on the tablet, that's more telling. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying with Boom. What if the fact of the matter is that in the future, okay, cloud streaming just means that we'll be streaming these big games through to our televisions or alternate devices? I don't know if necessarily the portability factor is and I'll give you an example. Like when I bring my Switch on the road, right, I'm playing simplistic games now, like games like Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Very simplistic, 8-bit game. Platformer,
that's you, Mooch. Like if you look at it, and the Switch is a really good example. Games like Zelda Breath of the Wild, even though the battery life is horrendous when you're playing games like that.
This is true,
it's not that bad though. It's really not that bad.
But it's the beginning. Do you remember the first cell phones that came out? The battery life that.
Oh my God! It lasted 4 hours.
Right? Yeah, everything.
Man, my battery life in my iPhone still lasts like
Gear.
4 hours.
I had a Game Gear. Love my Game Gear, by the way.
Game Gear was trash.
But see, that's the thing. They're catering to this generation now, even with the Switch. And then when xCloud comes out and all this stuff, the game streaming. And when it comes to the bigger games, except for Switch, other gamers that don't have a Switch never really had that option. It's always been the lower type games, the free-to-play stuff like that. Right. So when you give them that option, like I said, especially with Microsoft, they love looking at those numbers. I swear they got a bunch of people with glasses on just watching the computer screen, looking at these numbers constantly.
You're right about that, Bob. Because the thing is this is the thing with this whole phenomenon. Let's call it right. All right. They see the potential to make a ridiculous amount of money. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Yeah. It's about reaching as many people as possible with if they're gonna put these money into these servers, right? These server farms and all that, and have all of that being the muscle behind it, and can get it out to you and don't have to spend money on manufacturing consoles and get you that same quality. Yes, that's what they ultimately want to do. How far away that is, I'll be generous, like I said earlier in my video, by the way. Another shameless plug. I'll be generous and say that's about 5 years away. And like I said, that's being generous because it is way more than that. It is more than that. Like,
another thing is 5 to 10 years away from now, that younger generation that Boom was talking about, that I've been talking about, like from the beginning, are going to be 5 to 10 years older. Eventually taking over.
They'll be the 20 somethings.
They are going to be that main consumer point there. They're the ones that are going to be spending all the money. They're going to be, in the category of, the boomsticks, other people and stuff like that, spending all their money on games.
Yeah.
And they're used to having games on their tablet and their cell phone and stuff like that. So it's going to be second nature. These companies are gearing up for them to take over that mantle.
What are we expecting here? Are we expecting to see xCloud in a major debut at E3?
I think they have to talk about it. I think they have to mention it. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to break it down.
It'll debut. I don't know how major it'll be. Like.
Well, we know it's not going to show well on stage.
Well, that kind of stuff never kind of shows well on stage. I mean, look at
that's the
Google
real question.
Stadia.
Then
look at the Google Stadia. It didn't really sell. It really didn't sell anybody on that platform. That whole Stadia thing. Everybody was just kind of like, "What?"
Dude, that was a come and gone thing. Dude.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like if Microsoft plays their cards right and actually, gets up on stage and only mentions it, it'll be fine. I think if they keep going on and on about it, it'll probably be left in the dust, and people will be like, "Oh,
I think that
God,"
people need to get it into their hands. I think
it has to be more.
Yeah.
It has to be more like we're coming out with this. Check it out. They're gonna show us. They'll probably show some games that are gonna be part of that whole xCloud thing. It'll probably be like a trailer, like a commercial trailer that they do with a lot of their stuff.
Listen, E3 and boom, you're going to get to go there, so you'll get to enjoy this. But I think the best part of E3 for the people that are there, and believe it or not, even for us at home, okay, yes, the show is great, but the show that goes on the week of, okay, and all the behind the scenes, what I think we need to see when xCloud becomes a thing is that we need to see people out there taking video of them actually playing this thing and showing no latency, right? And don't get me wrong, even that's got to be taken with a grain of salt, because you'll be with the best of the best Wi-Fi, the best of the best connections, right? It's always the best. Listen, you guys ever walk into Best Buy? Go walk up there and look at any OLED screen.
I mean,
another
thing,
that OLED and go home, it never looks that good.
They don't want to show off just single player games. They want to show off some multiplayer games too, to show that there's no latency.
They shouldn't because
they should. They should show some of that.
No, they're not. It's not ready. Why show it? It's not ready. It's not. And
well, if it is ready, why not show it?
They're going to show Assassin's Creed, Forza, Motorsport, single player.
They got to stick to single player content, because that's what's going to show best. And another thing that people aren't really taking under consideration, us in the cities, like LA and Chicago and New York and all that, right? And,
it's like you better say New York, man.
We're of course.
Yeah.
Dallas. We're good to go. We're good to go as far as this 5G for wireless and there's places in Middle America that don't even have broadband, bro. Like, there's a lot of factors that play into this whole streaming thing. This is the future, but I think people are getting a little too bent out of shape about it right now.
I agree. That's a great point, Knox. Really great point.
Yeah, this is a ways off. They just see the potential. You know what it is? They see the dollar signs, so they're fixating on it. But this is far away.
But Knox, I got to tell you,
I got to tell you. Away,
hold on 1 second, Knox. I got to tell you, this is a way different tune than what I heard months ago. When I started saying this, people are like, "No, it's not. It's not going to happen." You're like, "No, it is the future, but it's a ways off." But guess what? That's good. They are.
I think what people were saying is that they didn't like it. Like, people just weren't like us. We just aren't into it. So I don't think the dispute was ever that.
The first time I saw Pizza Hut stuff their crust with cheese, I was like, "This is some kind of gimmick." Okay,
and then you eat it, and
but
it's
then
like
I saw Domino's, Papa John's, and my local pizza shop started doing. I said, maybe they're onto something. That's right. Okay. So I mean, and it's all fault if you hear a lot of food references.
I am Botstradamus, people. Botstradamus.
No, you know what? I will say this, Mooch. The one thing, people do not necessarily like change, especially. And again, I'm not saying the older crowd. I'm saying that most gamers,
little by little, brother.
Yeah, I mean, most gamers just want to play a game, right? They want to, some people want to pop a disc in. Some people just want to turn on their console of choice and have the game already waiting, digitally downloaded. I think the same way, I mean, because if you remember, if you go, let's go back 5 years, right? Let's go back 5 years to the beginning of the generation when digital was going to be a thing. People were like, that GIF with Drake pushing his hand out, that he doesn't want it. People were like really up in arms about it. Some people are still holding true. I was actually one of those people, dude. If I show you pictures of some of my earlier gaming days with my shelves, I had shelves top to bottom of games on top of games on top of games. Now I have, I think, 10 physical Xbox One games because they came with collector's editions, and I have almost nearly 900 digital games on 14 terabytes, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. No clutter, and again, I'm the old man in the room, so listen, I came around on it because it was great just to be able to, at midnight, the game downloaded. A lot of the times I'm staying up and I'm not waiting in line to go pick up a game. I'm just enjoying the game, and I think that's going to happen with all of the streaming stuff, not just with Stadia, not just with xCloud.
Can I say something real quick about the streaming? Because Mooch, you brought up latency. And I think there's something here that people are forgetting about as well. When it comes to the xCloud, they say that they're lowering the latency. That doesn't mean that there's going to be no latency. So if they show it, there's going to be some latency. What's going to be interesting, right, is the stream box that we've been talking about with Xbox, with the hardware inside to basically eliminate the latency. That's what you want to keep an eye on, because if they can do that with a little box, what's to say that they can't strike deals with TV manufacturers and get that hardware in there as well?
I don't think they're going to have like their own streaming box. What I think they're going to do is implement it with the Lockhart. That's how I think they're going to do it.
But they said at a hardware. How do you see they said a hardware level though. Hardware level to eliminate.
But they didn't specifically say that it was going to be its own box though. They said that on a hardware level, so that means it could go into the Lockhart, which would kind of actually make a little bit of sense because of the fact that the Lockhart, as we know, isn't going to have a disk drive, right? So
that's the rumor anyway.
Right, that's the rumor. Right, exactly. Rumor, people, not fact.
I didn't know that. I didn't hear that rumor.
Well, that's how they're going to make it so cheap. I think they're. Right. I mean, it's going to be slightly more powerful than the X, according to what we've heard. Right. Again, this is all grain of salt stuff, and because obviously the CPU is going to. You're not going to be suffering the bottleneck of the CPU you have with the current consoles, because it's going to be a bigger CPU, so it's going to be slightly more powerful, and it's a great way to offer a gateway into the next generation for the folks that don't care about discs. Right. They're like, okay, wait a second. I can get into the next generation. It's supposedly $300, right? You put $299 on there, no disk drive, and it's next gen,
and that's why it's perfect for streaming and getting your digital games.
Yes.
So if you want to get your digital games, you can get them there. But if you want to subscribe to xCloud, which it will be a subscription, I guarantee you that, you can subscribe to xCloud and play your games that way. I don't know how much it's going to be. Of course, looking at what Game Pass is doing and kind of looking at what they've done with Xbox Live Gold, it's probably going to fall in the range of maybe 20 to probably more like 20, 25, maybe $30 for xCloud.
Another issue with the streaming service is, how long do you think right now, right? The major players will be Microsoft, Sony, Google, and whatever Amazon, Walmart, and the flea market do, right?
The flea market.
Yeah, the flea. Why not? Right? Everybody's gonna make
great. That's great.
But what happens when EA wants to just say, well, why are we putting stuff on Microsoft's streaming service or on xCloud or PlayStation whatever cloud, when we could just do our own and
which they probably will with EA Access and their EA Origins.
Oh my god! I really hope Origin comes to the Xbox. That would
honestly that would be fantastic.
Why do you think Xbox is getting more studios? Why do you think PlayStation is looking to acquire more studios?
That's a great
point. But do we as consumers really want to subscribe to all these different services?
That's why they're picking up a lot of these studios, is because they don't want people to subscribe to other.
I'm in that camp though. But Knox makes a good point. That's the same thing with me. The reason I haven't cut the cable as far as TV goes is everyone's like, cut the cable, Mooch, have enough. Go out there with a pair of scissors or tin snips. It doesn't matter what you use. It's just coax. My problem is this, okay, is that you do that, and then everyone's like, well, I got Netflix, I got Hulu, I got Spotify, I got Xfinity. I picked this up, and you're
paying more.
YouTube Red, YouTube the TV. What happens is now you're paying $60, $70, same money, right? Exactly. And you're like, and then everybody defends it. We all do this. We all do this as human beings. We defend our purchases, right? It is what it is.
As you can see, like a lot of the cell phone companies have gotten into, giving you rewards like giving you HBO Now or Netflix or Hulu. I could see that kind of coming into the gaming world as well, with maybe Microsoft giving you like an incentive to buy xCloud or to buy a Game Pass.
That stuff never worked out, Goldblum. I'm with AT&T. They told me I had HBO Go. I just had to jump through 8 hoops filled with like light up flames to get it. I was like, how the hell do I get this for free?
I have Sprint, and they gave me Hulu, and it works fine. So
Yes, that's it. Me too. Me too.
Maybe I
Yeah.
should switch.
I don't know what your problem is, Mooch.
That's a me problem, all right, Goldblum? Let's leave it there. Speaking of that, guys, but this is a great thing. I was going to go into a couple of different subjects, but this xCloud really does kind of blend really nicely into the whole E3 thing. A lot of leaks came out this week, and listen, I don't buy into it. I usually don't. If you go back years and years and years ago, I did kind of get excited when I saw somebody who had a little bit of clout in the business would do that, and I said, you know what, this might come to fruition. Now, they're saying things like Perfect Dark, third-person reboot, the Fable reboot, now a Mech Assault. That's the one that kind of threw Mooch off. Mech Assault, that's something that the hardcore fans have been asking for. But personally, and guys, please correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't play it, but Mech Assault was the one that came with the dinner tray.
No,
right, the dinner tray size controller.
That was the one that was made by Capcom. That was Mech Assault was Mech Assault 1 and Mech Assault 2 Lone Wolf were like a third-person mech game where it was on the OG Xbox. They are, when I tell you, those are so freaking good. I'm so sorry that they, like I said, when I heard that news, I got really excited because there's a lot of OG Xbox stuff that they could bring back. Perfect Dark would be a great.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, Perfect Dark.
Boom, let me ask you, Boom, and you're going to be sitting there in a row listening to this, okay? So
I never got into the unfortunately.
I'll be honest with you. If you're outside the teletheater watching a 75-foot screen, that's just as good. Trust me.
I agree. Yeah.
Enjoying a choice beverage, I might add.
Probably a ginger ale, but go ahead.
Well, put something else in it. Well, yeah, but nonetheless, we'll talk about that after the show. But I mean, realistically, Boom, listen to what we just said. Here we are talking about and hyping up E3, and I'm all for I was never a big fan of Fable. I've said that for years. But a Fable reboot that could be dark and more mysterious. I apologize, Goldblum.
A Witcher Fable.
Exactly. But listen to what we just said there, and I really want to hear the whole panel's take on it. I'll give you Mooch's impressions real quick. Perfect Dark, Fable reboot, okay.
Man.
Mech Assault, where's my DeLorean? I'm tired. What's with the time machine? Is this going to be called the E3 time machine? I
think they have to do it, Mooch. I'm going to tell you why, but
people
continue.
were clamoring for them to do reboots of this stuff, like
in 2013 when we were starving. We're not
especially
this entire generation.
I'm not a fan, but it'll be good fan service.
Especially
don't you think that's taking up a lot of resources and time on the stage? If that's what we're going to see, is those 3 games?
No, I mean, no. Like I said, if that's what we're going to see, that doesn't cut it for me. Like that, that's got to be icing on the cake.
Shout out to Seth in the chat. He's right. And Battletoads is rumored to be be there as well.
Battletoads, baby! Yeah.
Great. Are we all going to be? Are we going to wear our MC Hammer pants while we watch this thing?
They're actually quite comfortable, to be honest.
They are very comfortable, bro. Especially if you're in the kitchen.
If they come back with like a Perfect Dark, I could see them doing that. Like that makes sense to me because they kind of botched Perfect Dark 0.
They did. Absolutely. Great point.
Mech Assault, I've never been into those games, so I don't really know. Like, I have no idea. I could see him probably doing Fable, but I don't really see it being at this E3. I see it probably
they're gonna have it
for next gen. I see it more for next gen than I.
Dude, what do you think they're gonna show
for this generation?
What do you think they're gonna show? They're honestly going to be showing.
I think they're gonna show. They're gonna show a lot of the third party stuff because Sony's not there, and they're gonna show a lot of they're gonna show some new IPs from Ninja Theory. I think they're gonna show that one off. I think they'll show maybe Perfect Dark 0, which I'm hoping. I know Mooch, you don't like that game, but I'm a fan.
That's not fair. That's not fair. It's not that I don't like it. I'm just saying. Mooch. Battletoads, Perfect Dark, Fable, Mech Assault.
Mooch, I got
But that's the thing. Like them bringing back like some of those old classics is good though too. Like maybe not the whole show.
That's a lot of the show.
Deviate those. But that's the thing. We also have XO though too throughout this year.
Correct.
So you might see some of those games at XO and not at E3. So it's okay if they don't show us everything like those types of games like Fable, Perfect Dark, Mech Assault, things like that at E3, and they show that some of those at XO. So I mean, it just depends on really what they're going to show us, because we haven't seen anything. There's no leaks or nothing. I'm surprised there ain't no leaks out right now.
Supposedly
There hasn't been nothing.
This is
guys could be
supposed
excited
right here.
for all those reboots, man. But I want to see something new.
I know these are leaks.
The only
Hold
games
on, hold on.
I want to see the reinvented games. I want to see the reinvented games like
Brother.
PS5 and Halo Infinite,
Brother.
and then I want to see new stuff.
Knox. Yo, here's the deal. I understand what you're something new. So, but here's the deal, and this is my argument for Mech Assault being a great idea to bring back. Look at the other platforms out there.
Thank you.
Right? Look at the other
Thank you.
platforms.
Yes.
What other platform has a quality mech game that people can get into?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Yep.
All right. So
No,
even
but
though, hold on, Knox,
I'm not
even
saying
though-
that's. I'm not
even
saying that's
though-
not a bad idea. That's old enough
though-
where it's a new thing.
Even though it has the same name, Mech
Xbox.
Assault, it's something new.
I don't think that's a problem. But the thing is, so you say, does anybody have that? You make a good case. All of a sudden, let's say Boom says, now, what about Perfect Dark? Does anybody have a Perfect Dark type game? Like, what I'm saying, though, is we're sitting here in 2019, and we're asking for all these reboots. And I think there's just a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are in. Shout out to Punk Kiddish, who's in the chat. Punk's a great guy. Punk says, "Can we get some new IPs, please?"
But you're gonna get the new IPs. You're gonna get that, but you have to remember. Listen, the reason why I really like this idea is, I kind of want to talk about Sony and Nintendo for a second, because if you look at what Nintendo does, I'm not saying that they keep rehashing the same stuff, but they use older characters to their advantage. And Perfect Dark came out in 2000. Perfect Dark Zero, which really was an epic fail, was 2005. So she meaning Joanna Dark is 14 years removed,
Right.
And listen, you have to remember, again, this is a generation where a female lead character is as important as a Marcus Phoenix or a Nathan Drake or Kratos, and I think that she could be reborn. From what we're hearing, it's going to be third person. What we're also hearing is that the Coalition is assisting in doing this. They are the master of third person games with Gears of War, so you can take a gritty Sam Fisher approach to a strong lead female character for an IP that Microsoft owns that has not seen any love in so many years.
Right.
That would be, in my opinion, even though she's older, it would be considered a new IP to me, because we haven't played Joanna Dark in years.
We've been saying this for a long time, Boom, and I do want to bring this up, because I mean, I think it's an interesting topic. I really do. But you said, a female character. The female character, if written and it's written properly, absolutely. Same thing for the guy character, right? But Marcus was just such an influential person in Gears, right?
Yes,
so influential.
Yes.
So I mean, absolutely. Myself personally, instead of seeing Perfect Dark rebooted, I would rather see a lot more money thrown at Recore 2. Because I think Jules' character, that's the one, right?
Yeah.
That was something that I thought the background story, the mechanics, and the actual, like, the environment, that was a futuristic, if you will, almost post-Star Wars type of scenery, right?
Strong.
With a Jewel in there instead of a Lara Croft. That's my go-to.
I'm going to get greedy and say, why can't we have both?
That's fine, Boom. But Perfect Dark's main female character didn't have a whole lot of story behind it. It was such an old back in the day time. There's not a lot that you can really sink your teeth in and say, that's a story I want to get into. Now they can recreate that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is what we hope they're going to do. Let me just say real quick, shout out to Gotham guy who says there's no way Microsoft would announce Perfect Dark and not Fable. Fable's the most anticipated of the two and is expected. They can't let the fans down. And Shy Guy,
I agree.
says,
That's a great point.
That's a great point. He says this week's show has the perfect amount of harmonica. Absolutely. Let me just say to everybody, they're asking, right? They're saying,
where's my harmonica? Hold on, where's my harmonica?
Crap's at a family event tonight. He'll be back next week, guys. But yeah, I mean,
when it comes to Fable, you get a teaser trailer this year at E3. 2020 comes around at E3, and then they go more in depth with the game. It is a typical type thing. It's typical.
That's cool. And if they want to bring back Perfect Dark and all that, listen, cool with the female protagonist stuff and all that. But if that's the reason you're gonna do it, then I don't want to see it.
No, I agree. I agree. I'm not saying that they should bring it out simply because it's a female lead. I'm saying that Joanna Dark has a pretty cool story, and it's an IP that has not seen the light of day in quite some time.
All right, so Boom, let me ask you a question here. All these reboots. I'll start with Boom, and then I want to hear Pred's take on this as well, because Pred's been chiming in. Boom, what's your take on this fact? So you take all these reboots, right? Are these reboots going to be kind of AA? Or do they have to, for you, it has to be knock your socks off, AAA, Michael Bay explosion type of movie kind of experience for you?
No, I mean, look, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I know that we're very quick to put, A's on particular games, and some people actually judge a game before they play it based on the fact of whether or not it's a single A, AA, or AAA. What I'm saying is that for Microsoft, who is in a position where they have a lot of first-party IPs that they can go back to, as well as creating new experiences, which they're going to be doing with a lot of these studios they're picking up. Ninja Gaiden, for instance, was, yes, it was multi-plat eventually, but that was an original OG Xbox game. That was like the original Souls. The difficulty was like Souls-like. They could bring, they can make a deal with Team Ninja and have an exclusive there. And of course, you look back at like something like Crimson Skies. Crimson Skies doesn't need to be a $60 million game, but how many other platforms? How many platforms have in the sky air shooters? No one is doing that.
Ace Combat just came out last year,
but that's one in so many. I mean,
well, that's a multi-plat, and let's be honest here with Ace Combat, it is a shadow of what it once was.
Yeah, I agree.
There is a community that does play it, but the community is definitely dwindling. So when it comes to Crimson Skies, I wouldn't expect them to push over stacks of money to make that.
But that could be a strong, Game Pass title where they put a development house on there. They do a good job. They reboot the series. I don't know if you've ever played it. Crimson Skies is fantastic.
Yeah,
and it's backwards compatible with the. It looks amazing on the X.
No, Boom. I understand, and I think there's a lot of times me and you are a lot of like my game from last generation was Castlevania Lords of Shadow.
That's a fantastic game, dude.
It was, and it did decently well out there, with the gamers. But at the end of the day, they are looking at both, what they want to do to expand their portfolio to make a really diverse collection for the portfolio. But they're also looking at how much money is this really?
Of course, at the end of the day, it is a business. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Guys, remind me real quick when earlier in this generation, when I say early, I mean extremely early, like when the box first came out, Xbox One. It wasn't the game you're talking about. What was that game that they came out with? Not Loco Cycle, but there was another one, Blue Dragon or
Crimson Dragon.
Crimson Dragon, right?
I still have that game downloaded.
But that was another beloved old school game, correct?
It was supposed to be a spiritual successor to Panzer Dragoon.
Panzer Dragoon, thank you. That was what I was looking for, Boom.
It didn't have the name Panzer Dragoon.
Right, yes.
It also didn't have any money behind it, right? That looks like something I picked up with one of those Tim Cook Apple apps. It wasn't, no, but honestly, guys, that's where I want to take this serious note to, is no one likes to say this, but how much money are they throwing at these great reboots? Because listen, we know Fable's getting the money because it's Playground Games, right? They're a AAA developer. There's going to be, I think, money's no object. But when we start talking about Perfect Dark and we talk about Battletoads, if Battletoads is just a beautiful 4K rendition of the same thing we played in Rare Replay, I don't know if I want anything to do with it, to be honest with you.
I'm all in on Battletoads, dude.
But Boom, hear me out. Listen to what I just said, though. What if it's the same exact game you have in Rare Replay?
No, it's got to be 4K. It's got to be a different game.
I don't know if they would do that.
It's got to be more.
Yeah. Well, didn't they say it's 2.5D?
Yes, it is.
So that the old ones were just 2D. So I mean, it's not going to be.
Well, they tried to do little things with make it look more 3D and stuff like that.
What happened with 3?
I feel when it comes down to it.
Why aren't we doing 3D? What's the last game that you picked up that was $59.99 that was new? That was 2.5. I never heard of 2.5.
Well, I mean, first of all, Battletoads isn't going to be a $60 game. It's probably going to be $30 at best.
Yeah,
exactly.
Put it in the Ori category, man. something like that, which is not bad at all.
Double A can be an excellent game. You know what I'm saying? It's not just because it's double A.
That's true now.
Look at the game I'm playing right now, right? I don't think you guys would consider this triple A a Plague Tale.
You're still playing
that
that,
great game, dude.
And that game is awesome, and it's beautiful. And for what
Osobo did that, yes.
Yeah, for what it's giving you, technically that's a double A game. But man, looking at it, you wouldn't know it. And the gameplay, if you like that style of game, is awesome, bro. It's very enjoyable. So double A game can be an excellent game. But I don't want to see them just flooding it with their first party studios, just a bunch of double A games.
I agree, Knox. That's a great point because you certainly don't want too much of one thing. But if look, I'll put it this way: if you look at how the announcements are going to happen, supposedly, again, this is completely speculative because we don't know what exactly is going to happen. There's going to be leaks up until literally hours before the show of what's going to happen, unless of course Jeff Keighley goes and just blows his load and ruins it for everyone once again.
Jeff Keighley flew in early just to mic the place. So, yeah,
he's
breaking on
cameras
CrossFire
right now.
Yeah,
but you got to remember what they're going to be showing. Fable is going to be there. You're not going to see any gameplay. You're going to get some sort of a teaser trailer to get the fans excited, right? You're going to have Halo Infinite gameplay for sure. Gears is going to be blown out. Gears 5 is going to be blown out. There's going to be a big presentation. You're going to get Gears Tactics, which is a smaller one, but it's still a big Gears game nonetheless. And then you sprinkle in, you're going to have Ori there. You're going to have a few other, the Battletoads. The way that they could do it that's going to get everyone excited is as long as they're showing game after game after game, and it could be big, small, or however you want to put it out there. But I think that you need the smaller titles in there around the big boys to ground off. Again, the whole you don't want too much of one thing on the platform. I think that if they give those double A's and a single A game in with those triple A's and quadruple A games that we're going to eventually be getting, I think everyone's going to walk away very happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think out of the games that are rumored to be announced there in terms of titles coming back, I always think a little more outside the box. I know people out there might be like, yo, throw all the money at Perfect Dark and get that game up and running. Now, to me, I think the perfect title to do that out of what we said would be Mech Assault. Because first off, with the new hardware, I feel like a mech game can really show off.
I agree.
Increase in graphics.
That's true.
And then the next thing, like I said, there is no pillar mech game out there on any other platform. So you can put your marketing behind this. You can let people know, only place to play this and on this platform and really go in on that and put your money behind that. I think that's what they should do if any of this is real.
I agree.
They have that keyboard and mouse support too. So, I mean, some
smart.
PC knucklehead will go into that too. But go ahead.
No, go ahead, Fred. I'm sorry, my bad, brother.
I'm just like, I'm kind of on Mooch's side on this when it comes to all these old games. Like at some point in time, we have to release some new IPs, right?
Agreed.
Not just rehashing old shit and it's good to do that. I think they need to reboot some of these older franchises, but we haven't had a new IP announcement in a long time. So we kind of need to see that like now, like something to get people excited for.
The theory's going to give it to you, brother.
Well, again, that's most likely going to be multi-plat, and
Ninja Theory, no,
not Ninja Theories. No.
That first game they're coming out with.
The one that they're dropping now is going to be the multi-plat. That's the last one that they were working on.
Yeah, that one's going to be multi-plat. But like we have how many studios before the purchases under Microsoft's belt? I know.
I think it was 6 or 7 before all the
talk
purchases.
About Rare's IP coming out. That kind of thing. Like, I mean, and I hopefully it's just not. What I don't want to see is a bunch of reboots of shit from the 80s and 90s. That we've been asking.
So you're saying that Boom's prediction of Banjo-Kazooie rebooted should be out the door.
I'm not saying that.
But
I mean, I'm just saying I don't want to see only that. I'm okay with them doing that sort of thing if that's what they've been working on.
But why not have those games? And Pred, I'm just going to add to what you're saying, piggyback off what you're saying, because I'm sitting here and I'm totally agreeing with you. I love all these things, guys. Let's not get them wrong in interpretation. But I think all these games that we're talking about should come out. Like, look at Sony, for example, like Yakuza, right? Or Neo, right? Or those other games. Those are games they just kind of just drop throughout the year, or they show them at PSX, right?
Well,
or
those are second party titles too. There's like it's a third party developer doing something for one platform.
I get that, but I'm just trying to say that if we're sitting here and we're talking about Mech Assault, we're talking about Perfect Dark, we're talking about Fable, we're talking about Battletoads, we're talking about now we got another one. We're talking like all of that is going to eat up, plus the third-party games, plus we're talking about the other acquisitions they recently picked up, like Obsidian, etc., which are doing the multi-plat stuff right out the door. What I'm saying to you is we should be excited, and I hope that they show. And then you're talking about also they're going to have a Minecraft section. They're going to have Minecraft Earth. They're going to show xCloud. There's going to be a huge dedication to hardware. Guys, they're not up there for half a day.
I don't think it's going to be a huge dedication
90
to
minutes,
hardware,
maybe 97 minutes. So, I mean, well, no, that's, and I wanted to thank you, Xbox. Great introduction. Segway King. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about as well. There's nobody back in the day that used to be more excited about the hardware specs than me, to be honest with you. Mooch loves that stuff. But here we are. 2013, we got consoles. 2017, we got consoles. And now 2020, we're going to get consoles. And a lot of us that have the X are experiencing this gorgeous 4K. Yes, we're going to get the great CPU. I'm excited. I'm a day one for Anaconda. Absolutely.
Of course,
no questions, right? Absolutely. Across the board. But at the same time, what do you guys think is going to happen here as far as I think Microsoft has to walk a very fine line on what they're about to go down here between their Lockhart and their Anaconda. And I'll tell you this much. People are really emphasizing that the Lockhart needs to be the proper price. I kind of think it's the other way around because regardless of what happens, I think we'll all agree on the panel, and I'm interested to see what the chat thinks as well, is that I think we're going to see it go Anaconda, PS5, Lockhart in that order for power, okay? Or performance, however you want to look at it. My point being is that I think the Anaconda, Microsoft can't come out there and be like, well, we're just giving you options. It's a generation of options. We're giving you options. I think the Anaconda has to be priced extremely close. When I say extremely close, I'm talking about a $50 threshold within the PS5.
Well, yeah, that's actually a really great point, and I'm gonna take it a little bit further, Mooch, if you don't mind. What I think Microsoft needs to do here is seriously take a page right out of Sony's book, the same way they took a page right out of Microsoft's book in 2013. And I am telling you this right now. Okay, I'm not a business guy. I'm not on the board, but I'm telling you how I would handle it is there would not be one leaked idea of price until Sony puts out what the PS5 is going to be, which is going to be $499. Anyone still thinking it's going to be $399? I got real sad news for you. Start collecting the cans, start saving your pennies, however you're going to put that extra $100 away. There's too much technology going into these next consoles to think that Sony is going to take some sort of a loss. That system is going to be $500, whereas Microsoft is in a position right now financially that all of their services for the Xbox brand are doing extremely well. Game Pass doing very well. They just signed this deal with Sony. There's rumors that Nintendo is going to be also jumping on the on the server program.
That's right.
Okay, so they have all of this extra money that's going to be coming in. They're a business. They're in to make money. But if you want to pull a Sony, which is how I would do it, you would not drop a price. And when Sony says that the PlayStation 5, which is going to be a beast, is $500, you say the Anaconda is $499.99. You match them. And you do exactly what they did in 2013. You have power, you have price, and God willing, they will have the games by then ready to go. And that's how you win the generation right out of the gate. The same way Sony did it, without being snarky and saying you can trade games this way.
So you guys think that we're not going to get any of those games this gen then?
Which games?
Yeah, which games are you talking about, Goldblum?
You're talking about like the Halos and stuff? No, yeah, that's going to be a
like Halos or
I think that's good. Well, Halo is going to be a launch title for Anaconda.
That's right, and it's also going to be
Fable
and Gears.
Fable's 2021 in my opinion.
Yeah,
or what's the Ninja Theory one?
That's coming. That's going to be next year. That's early next year from what we hear. March.
That's right.
Okay, so then we'll get that then.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing too, Boom, that we're kind of leaving off the table when we're talking about hardware specs. And I'll tell you, Knox on the panel, maybe even Pred, Okay. And, Xbox has been a little bit quiet on this front. And I'm really interested to hear what he's thinking. There's a lot of people, Boom, that I've been gaming with, and they've been telling me in Xbox Live chat that they've been thinking that they're going to keep their X not forever, but for the foreseeable future, especially now that we hear Xbox is going to have Halo Infinite be forward compatible, right? It's going to be a game that'll play on your current system.
Probably
and you know what? That's going to be the same thing for a lot of the Sony players too.
Well, but here's the thing. You know what, Boom? I'm actually right there with you. Has Sony said that, though?
What, that their system is backwards? Yeah, from what we understand,
Not backwards compatible, forward.
Yes, they're doing it to make an easier transition into the PS5. At least that's the rumors, right? To make
they're only talking backwards compatibility.
Right, that's all I've heard. It's backwards,
forwards compatibility.
Yeah, Microsoft
they want you to bring your library. They want you to bring your library to them, but they still want you to buy the new console.
That's an even better move then.
Well, see, guys,
more than likely it'll work out for them now.
I just want to say something real quick, because I heard Boom and his whole kind of like talking about the pricing and stuff like that, and I think we're going to get into a talk about that whole winning the generation and stuff. Guys, moving into the next series of hardware, quote unquote, winning the generation isn't about console sales anymore.
No, you are correct. That's a great point, dude.
We got to start talking about it differently. So this way the people out there that are listening to us can understand that as well. Because the more that we kind of revert to our second nature and go back to console sales with winning the generation and stuff like that, the harder it is for people out there who are listening to us to also transition as well.
Good point, Xbot.
That's a great point, what I'm saying? Actually. Yeah, that's a great point.
But when it comes down to the price, when it comes to Anaconda, I do believe, I agree with Mooch that the bigger kind of like question mark and the more important price tag is the Anaconda. As long as the Lockhart is cheaper than the PlayStation, I feel like Microsoft feels that they have that base covered. The thing about the Anaconda is you don't want to price it too much that it turns even the hardcore away. All right, that's the biggest thing right there, because at the end of the day, they don't really care how many people really get in and buy the Anaconda day one at launch or anything like that. If they're doing forwards compatibility, if you're playing the games, they're talking about active users, active players within these games. That's where they're going to go forward. They're not going to be talking really about console sales or anything. And you see Sony is starting to do that as well. You're going to have everybody in the industry before you know it, because they want to get people accustomed to words that go with game streaming. They're going to go away from console sales and stuff like that. Everybody else is going to talk about active users. Right. All right. That's what it is.
Let me say this, because I think this is an interesting ploy that's coming out here. And shout out to everybody who's here in the chat, guys. Please do tweet it out. Hit that like button, guys. I'll be honest with you. Jack Trenton came out, and Mooches have been very quiet about the whole, like, when it talks about Sony executives, there's not many that usually come out and are riveting or exciting. But I really miss Jack. Jack had a stage presence, and he kind of had his finger on the pulse, not just at Sony, but in the whole gaming market. And so Jack Trenton recently came out and said, PlayStation's in a prime position to do very well next generation. He gave his former company major props, which he's not wrong. But he said at the same time, he's warning Sony, and I think Sony here kind of taking this warning very seriously, that Microsoft is going to be a major competitor, and others, not just Microsoft, but others. I mean, do you guys think that PlayStation is at this point in time looking at, and there's been a few others, I won't mention their names, of other big YouTubers that are coming out and doing these kind of reveals that they're finding out from insiders, that Sony's doing everything it can to try and get the price as low as possible.
Yeah, of course they are.
PS5, right? Because boom, let's be honest, right? It's power, performance, and price.
Yeah, and then of course you follow that with strong games. That's the
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But let me tell you something right now, okay? And boom, you got to understand something, especially being a New Yorker, okay? What do people say when they come to the city? Boom, tell me the best place to go for pizza. Now listen, that pizza place, they can be charging $5 a slice. Okay,
which is outrageous, but go ahead.
It is outrageous, but they're doing it, but it's so good. Guess what? There's a line around the corner.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So you're probably going, Mooch, how the hell are you turning a slice of pizza in the video games? I'll tell you how I'm doing it. Right now, if Sony's got the performance and the price The games they know are already on the way.
Right.
Okay, so that's the benefit of the doubt. Am I saying that Sony's got a free pass? No. But people already got their money in their pocket and say, listen, I'm going to take it out and give it to you because I know those games are on the way. Now, are you going to give me performance and price? And that's the thing. I don't want to see Microsoft come out there. And I can already see Phil doing it. I can already see him doing it on stage. You know, we are happy to announce the Lockhart at $399, or even, it doesn't matter, $350, $299. It's not going to matter because the people that are listening to hardcore, the casual is different. But the hardcore is going to go, well, I got PlayStation 4. I got all these old games with me I'm going to be bringing over. I got to bring them with me somewhere. I'm going PS5. PS5 comes out and it's $499. If that Anaconda is more than $50 over the PS5, it is a detriment here. You're going to lose. You're probably going, Mooch, it doesn't matter. It's about the casual. It's not, because we even have Sony and Microsoft agreeing that that $2 billion out there isn't necessarily the console gamer, which Sony's calling niche, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying to you is that you're going to get all the hardcore already flocking to the PS5 because the price is right, the performance is right, and we know the games are on the way. The Anaconda, and if anyone, and shout out to, Mikey Barr has been in the chats before. He's listening. You've got to have the Anaconda match the PS5.
They have to match the PlayStation 5 That is the end of the story. Yes.
Well, you guys are saying that, and I agree with you. And it's not for console sales though. The reason why I agree
mind
with
share
you
across
is
gaming.
Mind share. That's exactly what it is. It's mind share.
Sony has it, and just the fans knowing that they can bring their library with them already is going to get them excited. They're already saying, I'm definitely going forward with Sony like that. They're already.
I am gonna say this though, and I you know what? As great as the conversation has been, no one has mentioned it, and I have to reiterate. I've said this before. Out of the 100 million consoles that are out there, first of all, they're not 100 million players. They're not. Someone actually did a poll on Twitter. I think it was Verdict that might have done it, and he was asking people how many PS4s you've purchased. Well, I'm good for 4. My brother Dan, Neo Mental, he's good for 4. A couple of my friends are good for 3 because they kept upgrading. So they're not 100 million people out there. But that's number one. But number two, you have to remember. Right now, the PlayStation 4 is the cool system. It is the casual system. It is the everyday system. Why? Because Sony is the master of marketing. They have great awareness of their customers and how to get them. PlayStation 4 on those big games, it was advertised in movie theaters, on basketball courts, during Super Bowls, here, there, and everywhere. So the mind share, what you guys are talking about, is there, and they're just so good at marketing. Mm-hmm. With the PlayStation 5, you got to remember it's going to be a $500 system. There is a tremendous amount of casual market. The casual market is probably, and I'm undercutting here. I know I'm lowballing, but let's just say that 80% of the PlayStation fan base is casual. I think it might be more. Your hardcore usually are that 10 or 15% that go crazy for the brand, that buy anything that come out. That's for Xbox and Nintendo as well. That's not just PlayStation, but they're not going to go. Again, this is why you're not going to see a big sales with the PS5 as much as people are giving it credit for, just for the name, because The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Kojima's game, and a few other things that they have going are going to be generational games where it's going to be on the PS4, and those PS4 players, the casual ones that buy only the first party games or only 3 games a year, are going to say, well, I have a PS4 that can play Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2. Why do I need a PS5? And until, now again, we don't know if this is going to happen. Let's say Horizon Zero Dawn comes out and it's only for the PlayStation 5, then you're going to start getting people to be like, well, wait a second. Now, damn, I love Horizon Zero Dawn. Aloy's awesome. I got to buy a PS5 now.
But that's exactly what Sony's going to do. And with Uncharted, whatever they're going to call it, they're going to do it. They're going to do it with the next Horizon Zero Dawn. That's Sony's game plan.
Yeah, it is.
They are absolutely going to do it, and they will be successful, which is why it's even more important. And that kind of proves Mooch's point right there, Boom, that if Microsoft is even $20 more expensive than the PlayStation 5, they're shooting themselves in the foot. They have to be on even ground on this.
I agree 100%.
The only thing I'm really concerned about, and I listened to everything that Boom said right there, is when he said about marketing, because he's absolutely right. When it comes to Sony, even with their guerrilla tactics that they started at the beginning of the generation, I don't agree with those, but they went in and they marketed the hell out of everything.
That's how you
even
do it,
Days
bro.
Gone. Whereas I feel Microsoft as a corporation has an issue with marketing. It's not just
100%.
Xbox,
Yes.
not just Xbox, but it's their entire corporation.
That's a great point, Xbox.
Even the Surface, which is deemed as a success within Microsoft, could be marketed a lot better, and they could have a lot more out there.
Can I get everyone's imagination to just let me just put your imagination out there for a minute. Let's use the numbers and discuss things the way that the corporate boardrooms do, not just as us fans. Okay, everybody in the chat, just think along with me here for a minute. So here's why it's still very crucial to have something like console sales, not console sales discussion arguments, no, but to do well at whether you're Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Here's why. It's the same reason if you want to believe that there's 2 billion, okay, which is out there, right? 2 billion consumers out there that could possibly be potential gamers. The one thing that you'll always agree with is that the consoles are doing a lot of the mind share, a lot of the legwork for you. It's like when you go into any of your local shops, right? There's your lost leaders, your grocery store. You know what your lost leader is in grocery stores? Generally, it's milk. And I'm not kidding. Milk is in the farthest location of your grocery store because they want you to truck all the way through the store, buy, look at other sales, things that are going on, so that you get to the primary focus, which you know you need milk at some point in your life, unless you're lactose intolerant. Nonetheless, okay? My point being is that the consoles, Sony doing well and selling 100 million this generation plus, them getting a jump start out there in the PS5 era, right? Hear me out. This is when you say, well, Mooch, who cares? We just spent the first hour of the show saying it doesn't matter. It's about streaming. It is. But when you go to choose where you're going to stream, where you're going to build your library, if you've already got 100 million people, and Boom made a good point, those are not 100 million gamers, okay? Even if they bought a PS5 for media reasons, okay, whether it be Netflix, etc., PlayStation's already a name that's associated with gaming. Yes. So we know that PlayStation is now linked up with Microsoft. They're using the Azure. They're going to do their own version of streaming. We know that they're all going to stream. This is why console sales are still important. They're still important because it puts the brand in the home. So then later on, when somebody's playing The Last of Us 2 on their tablet or phone, streaming, and I'm not saying Microsoft's not getting a cut of that for Azure. They are. But hear me out. Someone says, hey, what are you playing that on? Oh, I'm playing it on PlayStation Cloud or PS Now, right? Because why'd you do that? Well, I've been buying PlayStation stuff for the past decade, 2 decades. For some people, longer. Yeah. So this is why I don't want to neglect the conversation and say that PS5, okay, that's why they're doing this. Knox said it. That's why if you want to play Horizon Zero Dawn 2, more than likely, you're going to have to buy a PS5 if they haven't already put it on their PS Now streaming service. But it's mind share. It's the same reason, right? Apple wanted to own your pocket. I know a lot of people on the panel, and it's generally a Microsoft broadcast, so you're not hearing a lot of Apple fans like myself. But Apple wanted to dominate the pocket. So every time you pull your phone out, that's an Apple product. Microsoft, I said this back earlier in the generation, it was crucial for them to line the living room with an Xbox so that they owned your media server. Where do you think you do a lot of buying? It's in your home. People keep neglecting that. It's while you're sitting there eating chicken wings, pizza, watching TV. Whether you're streaming the TV or it's coax cable, you're buying stuff, right? So that's why it's so important. And I want to get your guys' take. Let me just get Gotham guy. He says, with all due respect to the Horizon Zero Dawn 2, it's not a system seller or killer IP like Halo Infinite or Gears 5. It's going to take an Uncharted game for casuals to sell out. That may be the case, Gotham. But yeah, not yet, right? Brad, what do you think?
Because our generation grew up on Halo, Forza, Gears, Crash, those kind of games. This generation coming up now is growing up on Minecraft, Horizon Zero Dawn, this new God of War, all these reboots that are coming out. Like, this generation is growing up on that kind of shit. So those games like Horizon that sold very well, the younger generation are going to be like, oh my God, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is coming out. They're going to want that shit. Like, we grew up on Call of Duty. We're tired of Call of Duty. Some of us are anyway, but like our younger kids, they've grown up on other games, and those are the games they grew up with that they want to see sequels for. So you can't say Horizon Zero Dawn isn't a system seller. It's not to us. We're older gamers. At least I don't know how old this guy was that said that, but us, our generation, we grew up on other shit. That's why our generation is asking for these reboots and shit like that.
That's right.
The younger generation, they're going to get their sequels for some of these games because they're popular now, and games like Horizon Zero Dawn are their system sellers. They're not ours.
Yeah, it's right. That's a great point, Fred. That's a really great point, because obviously, people see, again, we're looking at it. Gaming. What's amazing about gaming is it's generational reach. It's incredible that, I mean, look, think about this. I'm going to be 49 this year, and again, I'm an old dude, and it's cool. It's fine, because like I always say, that at least I could look back and say I started when they were sticks and dots, and I've seen the industry grow to where it is now. So it's really been a privilege for me personally, which is why I love gaming so much. But for each generational group, there's going to be that one character or IP that they started gaming with that, so it's going to make them buy. Exactly what Pred is. Pred really knocked it out of the park. For us, it's Mario. We see a new Mario game, we're running to buy it because, my God, we were there when Mario was just a blob on the screen, right? And now we get to see him in 3D and all these different graphics and different hats and costumes. Like, oh my God, it's so great. It's the same thing with the generation, and that's why gaming is so amazing, because of the reach it has. Whether you're 5 or you're 65, everyone is still enjoying it.
Well, I've been saying that for a long time, but I'm glad you kind of took this moment to kind of break it down and let people get back to why we do all this. There's a reason that everybody's here in the chat. There's a reason that there's these fine people on the panel. Is because, it's a passion. It's something we all enjoy. A friend of mine that I know personally says, I can't believe you still game. And I said, well, what do you do for stuff? I said, what do you watch, The Voice every night? I said, listen, I got look, there's a lot to it more than just like, you can't say that you enjoy a good book, but you can't enjoy a good single player game. And also there's an accomplishment. I think you guys will all agree to, right? There's an accomplishment for finishing a game. And I'm not talking about the achievement or the trophy. I'm talking about something personal to you yourself.
Well, not only that, if you think about multiplayer games, like say like Halo and stuff like that,
right.
What's the difference between playing Halo at home online with friends and going out and playing pool? It's competitive.
Absolutely.
You get something at the end of the game. It's a transition. Like stuff that we're doing in the physical, we can get emotional responses that are the same.
Yeah.
In the digital world as well. It's the same thing.
There's no difference between, having gaming as a hobby or entertainment as, watching a movie, reading a book, watching sports, listening to music.
Absolutely not.
It's all the same thing. It's all,
But and this is the thing though. But now it's all coming, back to the front again, because this is a situation, okay, where now there are all those people playing games. It's less taboo to talk about now, right? I mean, I think I myself personally, you could speak more about it openly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right,
sure.
Boom?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing this now, and again, I don't personally care. I don't ever critique anybody. If you're playing Candy Crush and you're putting like 10 hours a week into that, you know what I say? Good for you.
Good on you. Absolutely. For sure. Listen,
here's a funny story right there, brother.
Here's a funny story because, obviously everyone knows that I'm a retired New York City police officer. I'm very proud of that. In 94,
really?
Yeah, I know. Shocking, right? Revelation, everyone. In 94, when I got to the precinct that I was assigned to, I was 21 years old. Gaming was, of course, as important then as this for now. And I gotta tell you, man, it was very taboo. Like, you couldn't talk. I mean, I talked about it and I got my balls broken on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
They used to be like, what do you mean you play video games, kid? And like, what do you play, Atari? And I'm like, Atari? What this old bastard talking about? It's I'm playing the PlayStation 1. I just imported it from Japan, you dick, right? And trust me when I tell you, it was a significant uphill battle to get recognition for not thinking it was a child's play. And now, of course, in most places, of course, the NYPD, it's so mainstream that you would actually be considered weird if you didn't play video games. So Boom took it on the chin, so to speak, for all of these kids.
That's what I said. We fell on the grenade, Boom. Right?
Well, he really did, man. I'm a few years younger than Boom over here, and I gotta say, I grew up in the space.
Doesn't sound like it though.
No, I sound like shut up, Dark.
Bloom.
But
Yes.
my first console was the NES, right? And by that time, NES absolutely blew up. So my generation has always been around video games. It was NES, Genesis, moving Super Nintendo all the way through. We always had systems next to us. So I was in that generation where gaming was being adopted. It was being adopted at a really great rate. And now when it comes down to like the mobile games, which I know a lot of hardcore will make fun of, but it brought other people like my mom, like my older sister that didn't really get into games. It got them thinking about that digital entertainment, with like the Candy Crush, and then kind of like expanding from that. And now my sister's going out with my oldest son for like Pokemon Go, like when they do their community meetings and stuff like that. So it's good to see how big this industry got, and it's beyond us.
It's a shame, and I'll bring this up because I didn't put it in the topics, guys, so I'll throw a little bit of a curveball at you, but I'll give you a great intro story. And xBot, you're a big part of this too because you and Mel did a couple of videos on it back when you first started your channel, which I loved. I thought it was great that you guys did it. I always enjoyed it. It was like 10, 15 minutes. Mel and xBot used to go and actually show them waiting before GameStop opened to go pick up a new release. And my story kind of goes to back when it was still taboo. Right. But me and my friends, we love football. Like football is just one of the things we always talk a lot about sports. But I mean, at the same time, right, I got to tell you, we would go out on Monday Night Football. We'd go out to our local bar, hang out, get wings, couple pictures, and then we would go out and enjoy. We'd enjoy the game, and then we went right over to GameStop and waited in line. This was before they give you the numbers and this and that they had now. It was just first come, first serve. Yeah. And we'd go there for Call of Duty or Madden, and don't get me wrong, these are all the dude bro games. I get it. But my point being is, right, but at the same time, it was an absolute blast. You sat in line for probably the game ended. We'd leave the game about 10:30 East Coast time, right? Head over. You couldn't get the game until 12. So an hour and a half, you're sitting there and you're having amazing gaming conversations with everybody in line, having a blast. These are the good times. And I mean, xBot, I'll turn to you. This was something that you guys used to do. That was great that you guys used to document that and film it. I wish that you do it more often. The problem is that it's now we're going digital, and it's unfortunate, right? And I'll tell you, an xBot, you could speak to this because you and Mel know folks that work there, is that it's sad, but they're doing something else where the pro active members at GameStop no longer are getting the 10% discount on used games. They're not. They took that away. Now you're getting a $5 stipend, if you will, which doesn't build up. So if you don't use that $5 stipend every month, you basically don't get anything much. And I'm a pro member, so I want to say that kind of sucks. Shout out to Punk Kiddish real quick. He says, shout out to the older gamers here in the room. Keep it up. Not really old. Way to go, Punk. And I want to say shout out to Javier, who says, wholesome conversation sub to you. Javier, thank you so much. Been doing this for a very long time. A lot of passion in the room, a lot of passion on the channel. Truly appreciate that. But I mean, what do you guys think?
Too much passion.
Maybe a little too much. Go Blue, damn it!
That was such a Go Blue thing to say. You know that?
Problem, right?
Yes.
But
another one.
I mean, as much as we all love to sit here and just click buy, right, and pre-order, am I the only one that misses the old school experience of talking to gamers?
Dude, I love it.
He's asking me, sir. All right.
I think. well, hold on. I haven't been able to chime in a little while. I think that now that there's digital, I think that's the reason why it's so much more acceptable, is because that everything is more digital now. So everybody's able to get to it at a quicker pace than they used to back in the day, where they actually had to go to the store and pick it up at midnight. Especially here in California, we get games at 9 o'clock. So when it hits 12 o'clock over there in your guys' time, it's 9 o'clock over here. So we get an extra, couple hours probably to play the game than you guys do. In terms of just being able to stay up a little bit later because of the fact.
Talk about things I thought I'd never see. Boom! I know I got you and I got Knox here. I got to ask you guys: did you guys ever think that we would start going by Pacific time as actual time?
Not in my life.
Not in my entire life.
No.
Thank God we still have New Year's Eve.
I'm not saying it's the actual time. I'm just saying, like, you know, you're seeing that more now where people are buying their games digital because of the fact that they're able to play it, especially here in California. They're able to play it
at 9 o'clock and get those
at 9
o'clock.
o'clock.
Yeah,
extra 3 hours to where they don't have to like stay up until midnight to freaking be. And I hope they do that with the East Coast. Honestly, I wish they would actually do that with the East Coast.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I just think it should be like make it 9 o'clock across the board. Right.
Well, you know what?
Exactly.
To GameStop's credit, though, a lot of the times you can go in at 9 when the store closes to pick it up. They do offer that.
It depends on who you know.
That is true. Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah, well, that also helps. But the normal, like in some of the bigger releases, GameStop around here in New Rochelle, they were like, yeah, listen, you can come in at 9 o'clock to pick up the game. You know, come get the ticket or get your receipt stamped. You come back if you're picking up. Of course, like the
brother, New York is known for stuff like that. Even like the mom and pop stores are known for giving games out like early as well. Mooch, what you're saying about kind of like that, going and getting the game, hanging out with people, and all that good stuff. Kind of like the fun that you have waiting out in the store and all that. I do agree with you, but I also think that especially with this generation. And having platforms like Mixer, having YouTube and Twitch, I feel like that kind of like camaraderie and hanging out with people. And I think you can kind of like agree with this with your Twitch channel. I feel like that kind of like that whole thing moved over into the digital space when you're streaming a game.
Right.
And if you notice, we don't do those kind of like going out and waiting to pick up the game and hanging out with people anymore, but we do a lot more live streams now.
That's right.
And I feel like we get the same emotion, we get the same kind of like friendships to build on in the chat. People come in and checking out the streams, and it's a really good time. And I like that, man. I love being able to live stream, seeing who comes in and just bullshit. And
there's definitely pros and cons to both sides of this. I just said, it was a part of the past that we can all see that's deteriorating because GameStop. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. You don't have that experience when you're at Walmart. Really, you don't really have that experience when you're at Best Buy. So there's other people like, Mooch, that's not the only place you can buy a physical piece of content. No, it's not. But that was the central hub.
You also got to remember that GameStop, a lot of the times their employees are kind of shitty.
Yeah,
they don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. They and it's understandable. It's understandable, but they don't want to be there. They're like, oh, I got to be here, at midnight. Like this sucks, and having to deal with people. Well, and of course, there's always some jackass in the freaking line saying, oh, he's got to talk about games for 90 minutes with the freaking cashier when they're just trying to get you out the door. There's always some asshat over there.
You are just so positive.
Wow, if anyone's wondering where he got Goldblum from, okay, this is. But I mean, let me get back down to actually what our money's going towards. Who on the panel right now is a GameStop Pro member?
Oh, I am.
I am.
Is that everybody? Clowns, let me go to Clowns. By the way, welcome, Clowns, everybody.
Yes.
Clowns, great to have you here. Well, let me tell you something. Clowns is actually, speaking of passion and dedication, Clowns is a big-time gamer. I've known Clowns since I started doing YouTube, and Clowns is not feeling so well, and he's still here. That's how dedicated he is. So thanks for being here, Clowns. I really appreciate it.
He's a better man than I am.
Man. Clowns, what do you think about, and I mean, you've always been kind of, it depends on the subject at hand, and I don't blame you. I'm right there with you. What's your take? Like recently, I don't know if you heard me say it, but GameStop is now taking away the 10%. They're just trying to retain as much money as possible.
That's a shame.
It is a shame, to be honest with you. I mean, Clowns, are you going to remain a pro member now that their policies have changed?
Wow, Mooch, I'm very disappointed by hearing this. I'm still going to remain a pro member because I love the experience of going into the store, talking to the employees, buying stuff. But I think it just shows that GameStop is a sinking ship at this point, unfortunately. They're trying to force you kind of use the $5 coupon every month to keep buying stuff. I mean, it's just the way of the times, man. It kind of sucks.
It is, but I'm with you in the sense that I'm going to keep it. I would never, ever tell anybody on the panel that they need to do that because I think that's really, personal preference. But Boom, what about you? Do you see, and I mean, Boom, you've been very vocal with how you like to spend your money. I mean, is this something you're going to continue to do? I'm doing it personally for more of what Clowns first said, and then I want to see their doors remain open. I still buy my consoles there. I don't buy my consoles, and if I do, I bought Days Gone there. Anytime I decided to go physical disc, I always go to GameStop. So will you guys keep yours? Boom. How about you?
I'm definitely going to keep mine because, you know, I mean, listen, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I get a lot of points, man. Like I said,
so do I. Yeah,
you know, I'm constantly, you know, I get the points. I enjoy donating to charity, and it just so happens that when you do that, you know, like I drop $5 on whatever donation you get triple points. So you're donating, which is always really cool to do.
Right.
But you're also getting triple points on top of that, especially on a big purchase. So it's a win-win for everyone. And yeah, is it sad that the 10% is going away? I think that is really ridiculous.
That's
to be honest,
is right. Come on, I mean,
because they're first of all, they're clobbering the people trading the stuff.
Yes.
Okay, you trade in a new game, you get at best you're going to get $30. Let's say, for instance, you buy Days Gone, you hate it.
That's right.
You come back the next day, 2 weeks later, without any programs, it's like $27.80 or something like that you're getting for the game. They're going to take that game and sell for $54.99, and it's only $5 difference from the new game they're selling. You used to be able to say, well, at least I'm getting $5 off of that, so it's technically 10, and now they're taking that away. I gotta be honest with you, I you know, when you start to see moves like that, it makes me really question how much actually longer they're going to be open, because I really don't want them to close their doors. And I constantly say this in my videos. The same, you know, you got to remember, toy stores were a thing once before, and now they're not. And they're not coming back. Toys R Us is gone for good. And that's an experience that children from, I mean, listen, when I used to take my nephew, I loved going to Toys R Us because I loved being, around all those collectibles.
So did I.
You know what I'm saying? It's always fun. Yes. And that's gone. So when GameStop is gone, trust me when I tell you, folks, you're going to be just as sad.
Thank you, Boom.
Well, that's where I get my vinyl pops at, man. What are you talking about?
You know what? But to be honest,
buy three, get one free box.
That last sentence that Boom said is really that's the thing that kind of bugged me when Toys R Us was going under. Okay, everybody on Twitter was like, "Let's save Toys R Us." No, buddy, you had a chance to save Toys R Us. You never went in there. Okay, so there's a last-ditch effort here to actually go in there. And I'm not telling you guys to stop buying digital. You guys know Mooch is 90-10 digital to physical, right? I'm not saying that. I love rolling with the times, but at the same time, if you have the opportunity, I still think that that's going to be one of those situations where, let's say they close their doors tomorrow. 10 years from now, people will be like, man, I never got to experience GameStop. That is a store that is dedicated to gamers. Whether you had a good experience, a bad experience, a great experience, a shitty experience, it's all an experience within the world.
Brother, I never experienced a car hop from the 50s either, but they're not really bringing any of that back or anything like that.
I see where you're going with that, but now there's a lot of these novel places that are trying to open that up and charge for a $10 shake.
Novel, brother. but see, when it comes to GameStop, let's be honest here. I know everybody has a lot of great memories.
Yeah.
But it is a double-edged sword. And when you live by the sword, you also die by the sword. That whole
thing. I mean, there's really a problem with your theory here. There's a huge problem with your theory, because once GameStop goes away, all those used games that you see on eBay and Amazon are skyrocketing in price.
True. Because
they're going to be harder to find.
Outstanding point, Clowns.
And the mom and pop stores are literally dead, which is
they're gone.
As Clowns said that, all the hardcore people.
Maybe where you guys are, but the mom and pop stores are pretty hopping over here.
I got Game Exchange
going to the mom and pop stores
in Connecticut. It's doing well. I have a store. Everybody out there, just move to Connecticut. You'll go to Game Exchange and you'll get all the older games. No problem, guys.
Well, as Clowns said that.
They'll just like decrease the number you see in your neighborhoods. There won't be like 5 of them on every fucking corner in the malls. There'll probably be like 1 or 2 now. That'd be the first sign you know something's going under, when they start getting rid of these stores they have, because they've got like literally around my neighborhood there's 3, like within 2 miles of each other. And once you start seeing these stores close down, then you'll start knowing something's up, because their stock has been falling for like since the beginning of this generation, just a steady decline. With everything going on with digital sales and stuff like that. But you guys made a point, like, the prices will get hiked up, but you also have other avenues to get these games now, because everything's backwards compat, everything's like on Game Pass. So like the games that you want to resell or rebuy later, you'll still have them in your library. There's no need to do that anymore.
Well, I mean, what about those like Marvel gems, like Captain America from 360 and stuff like that?
We're getting closes down. Get them now.
Well, let me say, shout out to Sir X Man. He says when GameStop goes out of business, that's when you can get the games cheaper than what GameStop's charging. I don't know if that's true. I think Clown's made a great point. I've got literally, and I've taken care of them. I mean, Boom, I'm sure you're the same way. I'm sure Clowns is the same. I think everyone on this panel is the same way. I've got NES, SNES games. I've got Genesis games that are in mint condition. They're in mint condition. They're in a box. They're all sealed. They're in the original. If you guys are all NES fans or anybody that's our age that know this, but they came in those. Remember the black sleeves?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I have them all in there. They're neat. They're clean. I mean, Clowns just said it. Once they're gone, everybody's got an oil drum in their basement. Right? I mean, those things are going to be like $100 a piece. So, Sir X-Man, I don't know if they're going to be cheaper. Maybe eventually down the road, or you'll end up buying one that's cheap and it doesn't work. I mean, that's the other thing is I like going to GameStop. They had a 7-day return policy on their used items for God, as long as I can remember now. You could actually go buy a used game. Okay, hypothetically, go home, beat it, and return it and get another game. Okay, that I don't condone that, but nonetheless, you could do that. But now there's no warranty. You buy something off eBay, you know what you get? You get like a photocopy of somebody's middle finger.
You don't even know if it's a legit card anymore.
You don't even get the game,
right? Or if it's a copied ROM on a chip inside the cartridge.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's just something I wanted to kind of talk about. I know that they're changing their policy. Just want to bring that to everyone's light in their ears. A lot of YouTubers that are big, like the big time YouTubers are always like, GameStop makes another mistake. Boo, shun GameStop. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. I think at this point, what they're doing is something that every human being does, right? You clamor on to your last breath. So
well, they did a lot of, but they did a lot of bad shit, man. When it comes to like refurbished consoles,
they did Xbox.
Yeah,
they're kind of like Blockbuster, okay? And Blockbuster did a lot of shady shit. Believe me, they did a lot of stuff that was just.
Well, let me say,
give us an example, man.
Listen, Sir X-Man, go ahead, go.
Like the whole late fees thing, it was a complete sham. Like people would get their movies in like not even a few seconds late, like a few minutes or so, and they would charge them almost an entire movie for
you got to draw a line somewhere, man. It's only
not just that, but you got to go back.
Though,
but
dude.
Goldblum, you're also talking to the audience that may not remember that. You do have to remember
yeah.
They only those Blockbuster and all those other guys that were out there. They bought so many copies.
That's why they're not.
That was the only way to regulate
here
them
anymore.
Well,
yeah, and then not only that, but if you weren't renting that night, you don't have to pay your late fees until the next time you rent.
Let me clarify Sir X-Man's comment. Now, Sir X-Man's comment actually holds water with what he said after. He said when GameStop goes out of business, that's when you can get all these games cheaper. And then he follows up with saying, Mooch, it's called liquidation. He's talking about, but Sir X-Man, when they say they're going out, you've got to be like the first 10 there to get the good stuff. But because, otherwise you're going to go back there and get Slime Rancher 2.
Here's the thing that's going to happen, though. Like, let's say like Roadrunner and Super NES, right? You can get that pretty cheap on Amazon, other places right now. But if GameStop goes out of business, the pile of Roadrunner sitting around in people's basements are going to become more valuable.
Yes,
because
they are
going to become harder to get. So, I mean, that's the catch-22 on this.
Clowns, yo, brother, you make a great point, and it's absolutely true. But so basically, you're telling me GameStop is a necessary evil to keep those prices down.
It is,
and I feel like their tombstone is already being engraved with their name right now, and it's just a matter of time. So just get ready for that as a gamer. If you're more into like retro gaming and stuff like that, it's kind of like it's out there now. It's gonna happen at some point in time. So get yourself prepared. Get what games you want to get now. Because I think Clowns is absolutely on point with what's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are on point. Let me just change subject slightly here. I want to get back to what Sony kind of put out there. And it looked like it was a leaked footage, but then it went viral and it's legit. It was showing basically the PS5 time trials, right? Right.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. And I'm gonna go. Xbox. Feel free to jump in here. I did a little bit of research on it. It looks like what they did was they took a snippet from Spider-Man and they played it on the PS4, and then they played a snippet on the same game on the PS5 or PS5 similar hardware, if you will. And Boom, if you have something on this, I'm not sure if you did a topic on it on Breakfast with Boom. But I mean, myself personally, I wasn't sure what they were actually trying to put forward in showing that tech demo.
They're showing how great their backwards compatibility is going to be, and that is it.
Oh, come on!
That is it.
No, they're showing how
they're using
they're
a
showing
PS4
how
game. Come on, man.
Yeah, but they're showing how it takes how long it takes on the PS4 Pro to how the PS5 is gonna somewhat look. It's not the same hardware, but it's gonna be a little bit different. But they're showing you that load times are going to be a lot quicker the next generation.
But guess what? Those next series of games are going to be a lot bigger as well.
How are they gonna show you a freaking new ass fucking game, dude? They can't do that. They don't have any games.
Well, what they're doing with this is called marketing.
Right, exactly, and that's why they're not going to show you a freaking PS5 game. They're going to show you a PS4 game,
and you got to remember,
and you're going to see it.
Because Dark is right. Like Bot said, oh, they're going to be bigger. Yeah, games are pretty big right now, brother. At 60 gigs and 70 gigs, they're pretty huge now. And like I said, next generation isn't going to be leaps and bounds over this generation like that either. So when you see a load time shaved from 1 minute and 15 seconds to 2.1 seconds, my man, that is big, dude. That is huge, bro.
Deal. It is a big deal.
That's not a game. That's no
joke.
That Red Dead intro was like damn near 2 minutes, and it was in 5 seconds it loaded it up.
Well, that's the thing, Bob. What has Microsoft showed you? Nothing. They haven't even showed you yet.
Microsoft's going to E3 though, Dark. So that's not fair.
Yeah, exactly.
They're saving it for that.
But that's the thing. They didn't show you anything yet. So it's like you're downplaying what PlayStation 5 is going to be able to do, and it's like, yeah, granted, those games are going to be bigger.
No, I'm not.
Those games are going to be bigger, but
whatsoever. What I am stating,
it sounds like that.
No, I am stating exactly what that whole thing is.
Here's my thing. But let me just throw this out to the panel real quick. I'm blown away with it. We all know what the SSD is going to be able to bring to the future, right? We get this. But my point is that the reason I'm not exactly going nuts over it is if they're showcasing it, and it was mentioned in the interview. I believe 2 weeks back with who's the I'm drawing a blank on him. The guy who looks like the church lady from SNL.
So Sony's got lead artist.
Mark Cerny.
Mark Cerny. Yeah, thank you. He said He said it when he was getting interviewed.
Church lady.
Right. But I mean, realistically, we know Microsoft's going to have the same thing in the Anaconda,
right? Exactly.
So when everyone's like, "Holy crap, have you seen what's coming out from the PS5?" and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but that's not like secret sauce." I would assume that if they're showing that, Microsoft knows they're not going to have. They can't come out and say all these rumors that the Anaconda is going to be that much more powerful and that it's going to be using not a solid state drive. I mean, I just think that so them showing it is great, but isn't it somewhat like almost like I'm taking that for maybe I'm taking it for granted.
I think it's cool because they're actually showing us something, and we're like, oh, okay, we can actually see the difference between.
I mean, you can look at it from a different point of view as well. Optimus, you could look at it from Sony has to do that because they're not going to E3.
No E3, thank you.
You know what I'm saying? So this is why you're getting all of this news out now because they're not going to have a stage. They're not going to have a presence. I mean, sure, everyone is expecting that they're going to drop some sort of information during E3 to remain somewhat relevant, but they have to do this because Microsoft is going to have the world's eyes on them when they're up on stage, and they're going to be talking about different specs, and I'm sure it's gonna be baseline specs, but they're gonna be showing, who knows, they may even do a load time thing themselves. So listen, this is how long it took for this, and this is now what with the solid state drive, which all of the next generation consoles are gonna have. So I mean, listen, I agree with Knox. First of all, that gap doesn't seem like a lot when you say the number, but when you're sitting in front of the screen and it loads in a snap of a finger, it's going to be a big deal.
But at the same time, I want to piggyback off what Bloom said. I think next generation we should expect faster loading times. We should be surprised by it.
Yeah, I mean, like,
expect it.
Do we
That's
expect?
what they're showing us. That's
Yeah, I mean, I mean, shout out to Rumpel Forskin who says, "Mooch, I need more yelling sports." Absolutely. You know, I mean, I'm trying to think now. Of course, I'm drawing a blank here because I'm doing so many things at once here. But there was a fine gentleman who did a lot of gaming news back in the day, and his name will come back to me in a second. He did Rev 3 Games. Boom, you should know him as well as I know. He did G4? Oh God!
Oh, you're talking about Adam Sessler.
Adam Sessler. Thank you. As you're saying, Adam, like Adam Sessler. Adam Sessler said, I'll never forget, it was either launch night of the Xbox One or launch night of the PS4. It was a week before, regardless. He did a great show. He did an outstanding show. And he said, you know, the one thing I'm really hoping for, because last generation still had a little bit of secrecy before the consoles came out. He says, the one thing he pushed for it for, like, if you go back and watch the Rev 3 games when he was on that channel, that was the highlight. It was such a great time.
It was.
And it wasn't it. And Tara Long, him, and back when Max Scoville was like, you know, impartial, it was really great. And I thought the three of them did a good job. And he said, I really want shorter load times. He goes, that's what next generation means to me since I've been gaming so long. And Clowns just said that. And man, it just shot back and had me think about, you know, what that is. That is something at this point, I think, that is something I wouldn't want to use the word we demand. We can't sit here and demand
necessity,
but it is almost a necessity. Shout out to Noof Nukem, boom boom kaboom. But you know, that's the one thing that I would say is where I think when I saw this, as excited as I was, I kind of took that step back and was like, this is kind of where we should be, right?
Well,
I'm not.
Guys, just real quick, because I'm being looked at as like a negative Nancy over here. Like, my whole thing is, this looks good. All right, this looks good, right? I'm not going to sit there with my jaw on the ground right now. The one thing I wanted to see, and I'm not sure if they showed it. All I saw was the Spider-Man stuff. There was nothing booting up from a cold boot. Like when the game starts, you know, that initial load time that everything they showed was pretty much in game.
Right.
All right. The cold boot is that load time that most people wait.
I saw it for Grand Theft and I saw it for Red Dead. That same
really, all I saw was Spider-Man. So
yeah, I saw it for those two, and I'm telling you, dude, it shaved it up 5 seconds.
But
5 seconds for those two for Grand Theft.
That's good. You know, and let me tell you something. That's going to be a great feeling when you take that out of the box.
Only 5 seconds.
That's a lot of time, though, dude.
Yeah, 5 seconds for the entire
bit of time.
All right, and now, but see, that's what. See, I think I'm taking the kind of like proper mindset when looking at this. This is all well and good. Now I want to see, because, you know, with the games that are coming out, you have the better CPUs, you know, more intelligent AI, stuff like that has to be loaded in as well. I want to see how this compares to the new games that are going to come out when you know, these systems drop. So it's cool. It has me intrigued, but I'm not going to sit here and like throw everything in the air, throw my paper and say, yo, this is the best thing since sliced bread, because I don't know it yet, man.
Yeah, but if it would have been Microsoft showing it, you would have been dancing on the rooftop.
Exactly. He would have been dancing his ass off.
Hell yeah, he would have.
I would have said,
my Lord.
You gotta understand. Like I said, this isn't gonna be leaps and bounds. You're not gonna see what you saw from when it went from 16-bit to 32-bit. You're not gonna see that, bro. Like the changes are gonna be subtle. Yeah, shit is gonna look excellent. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's gonna be like ridiculous, at least not in the beginning.
I don't know. I don't know, Knox. What about the 8K?
Nah, let's stop with that. Clouds knows that's not happening.
That's right around the corner with the cloud streaming.
That's more like 8K upscale.
Let me tell you something. Sony and Microsoft also found out this generation that we all will buy upgrades. So let me tell you something. If the 8K, the TV market will dictate whether or not that happens. If the TV market around 2024 is pushing at a decent price an 8K product, don't be shocked if there's upgrades in our future for the
I
console.
saw my first 8K television commercial during the NBA playoffs.
Like, how much was it? $10,000?
Yeah, but
no, it's going to be expensive. Yeah,
Knox
but I
brought
saw
up a good point. No, I was just going to say, Knox brought up a good point of these things may come off as subtle, right? But these, if you've been gaming as long as all of us have, these are not subtle changes or subtle upgrades. To be able to go from something that was 15, Xbox is going to be doing it too, 15, 20 seconds down to 1 or 2 seconds, or if something was 30 seconds, that's down to 5 seconds load time. That's tremendous. Second of all, again, it immerses you into the game so much faster. Look at EA this week. They showed off that next gen hair, right? And I mean, look at, you want to sit there and say, "Oh, Mooch, you're going to talk about that?" Well, yeah, I am.
Well,
because
those are the things. Yeah,
these are the small nuances, right? Knox, you take the faster load times. You take the ability to show hair or reflexes or lighting or smoke or something else. These little things. What it does is it takes the game that we're currently enjoying and it brings it up multiple notches to make you even more immersed in your environment. This is a big deal. Like, I'll be honest with you, Red Dead, to get into Red Dead, that was a very long time. And that was a game that took 50, 60, 70, 80 hours to beat, depending on the gamer you were. So that means every time you struck that game up, you're sitting there for a few minutes waiting for the damn thing to load. And don't say it didn't bug you. Yeah, sometimes you pre-planned it. Good on you, right? You're like, well, I'll hit the A button and then I'll go make myself a drink. And when I get back, I'll time it perfectly. Well, sometimes you just weren't that accurate, right?
So you could do that with The Witcher 3, I can tell you that.
The Witcher 3, I mowed my lawn while I was loading. I got so much done. I mean, what do you think?
Metro Exodus is long as hell as well, man.
You know, I mean, these are subtle nuances that are kind of a big deal when you add them all up. These are the things that I'm looking forward to. Adam Sessler brought it up back in 2012, 2013, before these consoles came out, and he thought we were going to get this then. That's why I'm saying this is almost, I think this generation may go down. It's not going to go down now because people are like, what are you talking about, Mooch? I'm enjoying everything. I love everything. Everybody loves everything. But my point is, when you go back and look in the history books, this is almost like that like Apollo 13 generation. It was like a successful failure, right? Everything that we wanted in 2013, we're getting in 2020. So it's like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying at the tail end we didn't get some beautiful, like, unbelievable experiences. We did, but we needed new hardware. We needed mid-gen consoles. We had to pay everything twice, right?
The tech had to catch up.
Yes. So, I mean, I really think that that's an interesting point. I mean, Boom, what's your take? I haven't heard your take. Xbox been very vocal. Knox, Clown, Goldblum, a little too much.
Damn.
Goldblum, I had to say one. One zinger. Boom, what do you think? I mean, are these little nuances like SSDs and next-gen hair flow? Is this enough for you?
Oh, good.
I mean, look, I'm going to say this about the next generation.
I'm excited about it.
I'm excited because there are going to be a lot of advancements that we've all looked for, and you know, when you start to put them all out there, you know, you talk about next gen hair, right? Or you talk about load times, or the ability to do different things. It may seem minuscule simply because you're talking about little individual things, but when they're grouped together, and the experience becomes a group experience for that one gamer, i.e. me, you, anyone on this panel, anyone listening in the chat, it's going to make the quality of life gaming very a lot more enjoyable when you know, and when you think about it, like for instance, you know, a lot of us put significant amounts of time into a game like Red Dead Redemption. Like some people might have put 80 hours and they really enjoyed it, but could you imagine if 5 of those hours were actually waiting for stuff to load? I'm not saying that's the percentage. I'm just saying that it is a small number in those 80 hours that you were waiting for stuff to load, where that's going to be completely wiped away, and you're going to notice it. You know, 3 years into next gen's generation, it's going to be so secondary you're not even going to notice it anymore. But in the beginning, when you load up a Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or an Xbox or a Gear 6 or a Halo Infinite, whatever, it's going to be so quick from pressing the start button to playing that you're going to be like, wow, this is amazing.
Hell
and
yeah.
And I think that those little quality of life things, that like the SSD drives, the no bottlenecking in the CPUs, things of that nature. Like I said, singly, they don't seem like a big deal, but when they're grouped together and everything is working in harmony, it's really going to make that gaming experience for the people moving into the next gen that more exciting, I think.
Yeah, no, look at other. I'm sorry, Mooch, but real quick,
go nuts.
Other aspects of loading too that people aren't. I thought it was brilliant, just the way that God of War hid their loading screens. Can
Yes.
you imagine when you don't even have to hide them? When
Yes.
you're just seamlessly moving through the world? That this loading thing is much bigger than what they're letting on. Like I'm excited about it. And yeah, the hair thing, it was awesome too, man. That was valid, bro. That was valid.
Come on, xBot, it's a big deal,
dope, bro.
Brother,
texture,
I watched all the videos when it came to the hair thing, and it's something we're also going to talk about tomorrow. So
well, listen, xBot, let me give an example on a lower scale with the same subject. Okay, when Lara Croft, when the remake came out for Tomb Raider, when you dove into the water and she got out, remember she fixed her hair plus the hair flow. They made a big deal about the revelation.
They did. They did, not me personally. They did, man.
But I got to tell you, as a consumer and a gamer, I saw that and I said, dude, that's what we've been waiting to see. Because when you get out of the water, you don't instantly become dry. We're not all Michael J. Fox from back to the future. There's drying. Brother, it didn't work like that for all of us.
What I'm trying to say, there's certain aspects to that those videos that were really good. Like when you saw the lady doing the spin kick and you had the light highlighting off the top of her head, but it was all shadow pretty much from there on out. That looked real. I was like, wow, that was really good. But other things they were showing, like when she was just normally walking down and stuff, there was still huge clumps that were just all the same direction. There was still a lot of patchy work.
You should have been a teacher, xBot. You'd be great.
And let's be real, they're modeling this with the Frostbite engine, which yes, it does graphically look good.
Yeah.
Especially this generation, you would expect the next series of hardware it would look that much better. And there were certain aspects when it came to this hair thing where it looked like this generation, possibly last generation's hair as well. So it's a give and take, man.
No,
it's a give and take,
not
man.
at all, bro. Come on.
Don't make me have to play the video on the show tomorrow. Awesome. I will play it and show you.
Awesome. I hope.
Don't worry, I put it in my gameplay, Goldblum.
Good. He deserved it.
Awesome.
Damn it.
It's great. Listen, guys, I want to bring this up. I brought it up last week, and it looks like we're getting a continuation to the story, if you will. I mean, so I said last week that I thought that Raising Kratos, and I love the Days Gone soundtrack kind of documentary, if I'm saying it right. I was saying documentary, which, by the way, last week, when we went back and forth with that, that's as good as it gets, man. That's like old school SNL stuff. I loved it. But I mean, Sony's taking a step forward here and saying now they're making films based on their first party studio games. And let's just be honest here. That's a great move, right? I mean, a lot of these
sounds
stories,
like something a certain company wanted to do in 2013, man. That's weird.
xBot, outstanding point, and I'm going to back you up on that because this is why, and I've said this a number of times, everyone's like, oh, let's go back and listen to the tape. Well, go back and listen to the tape because Mooch has been saying it since 2013. When Yosef Mehdi got up there, okay, and he did his whole TV speech, well, this guy here was lighting a match and stomping his foot. I thought that stuff was great. I wanted to see a Halo TV show. Okay?
Oh, hell yeah.
I wanted to see a Gears TV show. I really embraced when I first saw that Quantum Break was going to have that movie/gaming aspect to it. I don't know if I necessarily think it turned out right, but nonetheless, it was something new for the times. Now, what Sony's doing here is they've got a situation. You guys can't tell me with all the nonsense, and boom, you're a big zombie fan like I am. Okay? You can't tell me with all these zombie knockoffs that are out there. I got news for you. You go ahead and make The Last of Us or a Last of Us type of miniseries. This guy's in the front row, okay? I might be elbow to elbow with the one and only Greg Miller, okay? Greg Miller's going to be like this. Thank God I'm sitting next to Mooch. I didn't know he was going to be here.
Or he's going to push you away.
We'll take a selfie together. We'll put it on Twitter. We'll do the whole thing. But
he likes food too, so you guys would probably be working, sitting together, trading recipes.
He's a huge wing fan. I love
wings.
He's
a big wing fan. Yeah, Greg loves wings. Yes,
absolutely. So I mean, what do you guys think, though? Boom. Anyone chime in? I think this is a big deal because it helps develop the brand. It helps bring the game. Maybe some people go, geez, I played that game. I didn't pick up that kind of story from it. Well, now you watch the documentary or you watch the movie or short film, maybe you'll catch wind a little bit more and you'll go back and purchase the game. It's genius.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Ubisoft did something like that with Assassin's Creed, I think it was 2, where they did like this. Was it? I don't know if it was them, but they made like a makeshift movie. That was like this makeshift movie that like really like started explaining stuff about the Auditore family and shit. That was hot. Like if they do something like that, that'll be good as long as it doesn't suck. That's the whole key here. It can't suck like Microsoft's crap sucked.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
look,
well,
I'm gonna say trash. I was very excited for it, but it was just, yeah. But you know, it could be dope. It has potential to be hot.
What was interesting about raising Kratos, first of all, is, you know, as gamers, right? Most of us don't care about what goes into making these games, right? We just want to download the game or go to your local shop and buy it, put the disc in and play and talk about your experience. But for someone like myself who you know, a lot of us on here are content creators, and there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes on putting on these shows. You know, some people have like, for instance, with me, I am over the top. Anyone that's been on a guest on my show knows that I'm ridiculous, dude. The amount of work that goes into it. So getting a chance to see, first of all, Corey Barlog is one of my favorite developers. I really dig the dude. He seems very down to earth. I'm never going to meet the guy probably, but I would really.
I wish he'd buy new eyeglass frames. Other than that, I think he's great.
Well, he can afford it now because he's making money.
Those clear frames are killing me.
But I am going to say this.
California thing.
It's definitely a California thing.
It might be a California thing for sure. But I'm going to say that this was fantastic. I encourage anyone that likes God of War, that likes Sony Santa Monica, that just is a Sony fan. I think that if you're a gamer and you want to see some of the highs and extremely lows of what goes on to making a game, you should definitely check it out. It's free. You just go to YouTube and just, you know, type in Raising Kratos, and it's there for everyone. I mean, a perfect example is look how crushed the team was when one of the Sony reps came in and like, yeah, this is not good. We got to scrap all of this. They were crushed, right? And you seen it in their faces. They're like, we've done months and months of all this work. We thought this was the greatest thing, and now we're getting told that it sucks. Right? Yeah, it was. Like I said, I thought it was fantastic, dude.
Yeah, no, great point, Boom. And I like how you added a little bit of that story to it, because to be honest with you, it does kind of hit you home. And, you know, here we go. We're going into the summer swoon, guys. And I don't believe there's anything major on the docket until we get to like maybe end of August. So, I mean, this is a great time where there's a lot of people. I know this is hard to believe, even with the numbers that came out of 10 million. But this is a time where someone sees that Raising Kratos, they watch it, they go, you know what? Maybe I will go play God of War. Or maybe somebody will say, guess what I'll do? I'll play it again.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. It deserves more sales, and I hope people go out and buy just based on that.
You'll be proud of me. My summer game is going to be Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
So good, dude.
That's my summer game to play, even if I slowly pick at it, okay? The same way that guy did with a small pickaxe getting out of Shawshank Redemption, okay? Even if it takes me that long to get through it, I'm going to get through there. But I want to say, guys, it's Friday night. It's almost 9 o'clock. What an outstanding show, honestly. A lot of heartfelt stories, a lot of great topics.
A lot of energy, baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mooch must have got extra sleep last night. Who knows? Great chat. Shout out to everybody that was here. I can't thank you all enough. Let me take a quick second to just say, please do hit that like button. Please do hit the subscribe button. Let me go down the panel in reverse order here and let these guys enjoy some gaming and time with their family. I'll go with, I'm not going to go in the exact order, but nonetheless, I'm going to go with Italian Clowns, who came in last but not least. Clowns, how the hell are you doing tonight, buddy? And thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it, even though you weren't feeling well.
Hey, man, it's always a pleasure being here. You know, every Monday nights now, 5 p.m., 4 Guys with Quarters. And also, I just want to say pineapple does not belong on pizza.
Thank you for making that public service announcement, Clowns. You have just helped more people in that one sentence than we've done all night. Thank you. I also endorse that. Let's leave fruit off pizza, folks. Okay, please. That being said, I've got my boy Pred. Pred, thanks for being here. Last minute to get you on the show. I truly appreciate it. It's Friday, a lot of things going on, but your insight into gaming, and buddy, honestly, I miss playing. We've got to get some good dude bro games back.
Yes.
Right? So, Pred, let people know where they can find you, brother.
Predator Space HOS, pretty much everywhere, including MySpace and AOL. A little quiet tonight, couldn't talk because Dark Bloom was doing this thing where he would open his mouth and not shut the fuck up. So,
yes,
I'll make sure I pay him back tomorrow on the next podcast.
I know he'll be like, I hope your dick falls off or something.
And we almost got away with a PG-13
Vote
rating.
for Fred. Vote for Fred.
So close. So close.
Fred.
Right? And then I've got my brother down there, Noximus. Nox, I know you probably got work later tonight, and you still are dedicated not only to making a video, but being here on Crossfire tonight, buddy. Thanks for your input, and let people know where they can find you, please.
Absolutely, man. It was a pleasure to be here, Mooch. Always is, man. The panel was great. The chat was great. The topics were great, man. It was great. Great. God damn it. Yeah, man. Right here on YouTube and Nox We Trust, on Twitter at DNox, Noximus1 on PSN, Xbox Live, whatever, Epic, I don't know, whatever the hell you can just type
Flea
in.
market.
There you go, the flea market, everything.
Nox on demand, buddy. I love it.
You know, on Wednesdays, Xbox Nation, Saturday, the next podcast. You all ready, kid?
Appreciate it, Nox. Thank you so much. And then, as life always finds his way on Friday night, Mr. Goldblum himself. Goldblum, let people know where they can find you, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Dark Optimus. You can also find me on Xbox Live and PlayStation at the same name. And I guess you can find me on the next podcast on Saturdays.
Great.
I'm gonna get flagged for that tomorrow, so it's fine.
That's awesome. And speaking of next podcast, I know he's got something going on big. It's Xbot 448. Once in a while, confused for 844. Xbot, thanks for being here tonight, and let people know where they can find you, please.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. Yo, huge shout out to the chat. Chat was absolutely on fire tonight. A lot of energy from the panel, and you know, guys, that's the way I like it. Yeah, tomorrow we got a huge show. Next podcast, you know, we're going to be talking to gaming news. We're going to be showing gameplay. You're going to be able to vote for who had the best gameplay. I'm going to go in, and I am going to argue about hair tomorrow. You are not going to want to miss this. It is tomorrow, 7 p.m. on the channel xBot 448, and another great Crossfire, man.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, Cinema Busting Boom, who's going right from this podcast immediately back to another one of his. Boom! Let people know where they can find you, brother. Thanks for being here tonight.
First of all, this was a great show. Lot of opinions. You know, it is called Crossfire, but you know what I really enjoy about it is that everyone has their opinion and no one tries to push theirs onto others. The chat was fantastic. Yeah, listen, you know, I think I've been a part of this for quite some time. If you follow me, or if you're new to the Crossfire and you want to follow someone that puts out a ton of live content weekly, please check out Double Barrel Gaming, and also on Twitter at Mr. Boomstick XL. The DM is open. I speak with everyone. I'm up to like 61,000 tweets. So yes, I am always on there doing something. And this was great. And you know what? It's going to be a great time for gaming moving forward.
Absolutely, Cena Boombastic. And then a quick shout out again. Crap's out there doing his thing with his family. Hope he's enjoying his weekend. Guys, we'll be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the Mooch 78. Guys, you're here already. Hit the button. It's right there. It's a click. It's not even exhausting. You're not shuffling. It's not mowing. You click, you move on. We'll do it again next week. Thanks, everybody here. Great channel. Great chat. Great panel. Great everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Great. Great.